Hello again, everyone. In this technical analysis of the stock market video, I call it last hurrah because that's what it looks like on the S&P 500, which is what we're going to focus on, that we are in the last wave, the final push up, and we'll see how far we get with that. And we'll talk about a projection, a possible projection. So a push into April for one last hurrah. All right, let's start off here with the Dow Industrials. The Dow was up 453 points on Friday, and Friday is what salvaged the week. So when you look at what happened for the week, it was up 445 points when you round it, and all of that came on Friday. Now it's going to be really interesting. This is sitting at all-time closing highs, both on a daily and weekly basis. You know, the short-term bearish view, since it didn't take out this intraday high here on the 18th, the short-term bearish view is only going to hold if the Dow starts selling off from, the first 30 minutes of the day on Monday. And if that doesn't happen, if it continues to push higher, we're only a few points away from this high. So right now, it really is making that situation pretty bleak. Let's take a look at the Qs, the Nasdaq 100, up 4.67 on Friday. So little bounce back that it's getting in here. We've had a lot of negativity in this, a big move down. I think we had a second wave back up. We'll see if this holds and wants to roll over or not. The Dow and the S&P 500 may start pulling it back up. For the week, it was up 2.86. Just when you look at this, not a whole lot of movement really. It just kind of closed right about where it opened, and it's just sitting right on that 10-week moving average. We've had 4 weeks in a row prior that were below it, but we never got a breakdown in here. Okay, and we'll see what this wants to do this coming week. Because I think it's kind of at that critical juncture, closing back above that 10-day moving average here on the daily chart. All right, let's take a look at the S&P 500. Here's the SPX. Now, the S&P was up 65 points on Friday, and it did a similar type thing as the Dow. It basically salvaged the week. 65 points on Friday, 61.4 for the whole week. So pretty strong move that occurred on Friday. And again, like the Dow, we're sitting at new all-time highs just by fraction though, but it is a new all-time closing high in here. Now, when I drill down and take a look at the Elliott Wave picture, here's what I'm looking at. We tried really hard to look at and say, is this move right in here, this move that came down right in here, was there a good bearish scenario? Could we get a 5-wave sequence of some kind? I just couldn't make it work. It just didn't fit. And what really fit was this corrective pattern of a WXY, which is a corrective pattern connecting to another corrective, so a zigzag, a double zigzag here on a pullback for wave 2. So this is the way it looks. Now, the challenging thing is the same thing that I'm seeing on the Dow, is the move from mid-morning on Thursday morning through the end of the day on Friday. Look what happened in that last 30 minutes of the day. Pretty big move. And really, the rally on Friday really occurred in the last hour and a half of the day. You can see here's the first half hour of the day. So here's where we opened. And notice how in early afternoon, we came down and came right back to where we opened on Friday morning and then returned. And in the last hour and a half, it just exploded to the upside. So when I look at this picture, I see a beautiful 5-wave move in here. Sharp pullback for wave 2, kind of a sideways move for like a flat, expanded flat or irregular correction is what the formal name for it is, for a wave 4, and then we've got a wave 5. So the real question is the wave 5 done with the high on Friday? I think we may have a little bit more to go. I wouldn't be surprised to see us push to a new intraday high early, first thing Monday morning, and then turn around and correct back down in here maybe back all the way down in here to the fourth wave that I just talked about. Now, if we're moving higher in the S&P 500 in one more push, and I'm talking about this fifth wave right here, it looks to me like we've had 1, 2, that we're going to be in a third wave. And where does wave 5, and I'm talking about this fifth wave, where does this wave 5 equal wave 1? Since we had a big, nice extended wave 3, right here at about 41.36. So if this continues to push up, that's one of the targets I'm looking to keep in mind is 41.36 on the SPX. Okay, that's the S&P 500. Let me go back to the daily here, and I want to pull up the SOX index, the Semiconductor Index. Look at the move that it had the last 2 days. Okay, it was up 19.82 on Friday, so pretty big turnaround. And let me see what scenario I want to pull up. Okay, this is the scenario here. This is my best take, is that we're in a fifth intermediate wave and that we've had 1, 2, strong 3, 4, and that looks like we want to push higher again to the upside here, which again, this would put us in sync with the SPX, in that we could have a 1, 2, and now breaking up here for a third wave. Okay, now the other thing that I'm seeing is this little head and shoulders consolidation pattern in here, like this. Now, on a consolidation pattern, I don't trust the projections nearly as much as I would if it was a head and shoulders reversal pattern on a top or a bottom kind of thing. But it does imply that there's another push coming after this sideways type of movement here with this consolidation pattern. So from an Elliott Wave perspective, it looks like we're in the third, kind of in sync with the S&P 500. We'll see if this kind of move then starts to pull, the Nasdaq and the Nasdaq 100 higher. Okay. Now let's take a look at one of my indicators here, the percent of stocks above their 50-day moving average. Here's the S&P 500. Look how it's back up here at 82% of the stocks in the S&P 500 are above their 50-day moving average. It's interesting that this whole thrust here almost looks like a little wedge type pattern pushing higher. And now we're in extremely overbought territory. And you can see we chopped around up there for quite a while before. Okay. But when you look at the New York Stock Exchange, much broader, it looks like we got a little bit of a pattern, a push to the downside, the opposite direction. And we're sitting at just 63% of the stocks on the New York Stock Exchange are above their 50-day moving average. So a little bit of a mixed picture here. It's going to be interesting to see, does the weight of the New York with many more stocks heavily influence this, or does this start to come up here and try to get back above 80 again also? So we'll see what happens. You could see the last 2 days had a pretty good little push to the upside. All right, so we kind of check in on this every day and keep an eye on it. Let's take a look at the dollar index. The dollar index for a long time was giving us really mixed signals, like this could have been still part of a counter trend move and we were going to break down, or was it going to continue to push to the upside and be bullish? When we finally, here in the middle of the week, this last week, took out this high, in my mind, it confirmed that we are continuing to push to the upside. I think this cycle wave 2 is done. I think we're pushing up in a 5-wave sequence. We'll see if we get the continuation. The real question, will we push this far up into this resistance zone in here? And if we take a look at the weekly chart, here's the bigger picture. I've kind of been looking for this thing to bottom and push higher for a long time. I mean, here's the bigger picture on the dollar. Let me actually blow it out so we have the whole screen in here. Here's the low back in March of 2008. And I think we had a first cycle wave up. And then we got this, big ABC correction here for cycle wave 2. And so now the real question is, are we going to continue to push higher up in here as a part of a first wave in cycle wave 3? Okay, that's the picture on the dollar. Let's check in on gold. Okay, with gold, I'm in the bearish scenario. I tried to stay with the bullish, and it just couldn't work. It kept failing, and right now it just looks like the weight of the evidence, the price action, is basically saying the path of least resistance is to the downside for the bears, and this is what I'm looking at. I'm looking for a 5-wave move to complete. We just don't have it quite yet. This little resistance area is kind of a key resistance zone, 150 or level 157.04. I noticed that here, and I'm looking at a weekly view. So 3 weeks ago, we came down to 157.13 as a low. If I switch over to the daily, here's how it's looking. We just continue to work our way south in here. Right now, this fourth little wave within this third minuet level wave to the downside, this still looks like maybe it's doing something else. And you never know truly what you're going to get with fourth wave in the corrective action. So we'll see what it wants to morph into. But that is the picture. That is the trend on gold heading to the downside. Okay, that's it for this weekend. If you felt like the video was helpful, give it the thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, hit that little subscriber button. And if you'd like more of this kind of information on a regular basis, head on over to joehenches.net and check out the website, check out the membership. Everyone have a great rest of the weekend. We'll talk to you on the next video.